Wow, nice clean water. How we take it for granted. Frank, why don't you show us what you guys got up at the end?
What's in it yet, but there is a lot of, in my well, ever since natural gas drilling started in the area back in 2008. It's only a month after they started drilling I started getting water like this. We don't know exactly what's in it yet, but there is a lot of, minerals, iron, manganese, magnesium, chloride, sodium, and a lot of other things that we're not sure of yet. We have highly saturated methane gas in here, so as you can tell, it's not potable. And they put a system in our house, the gas company did. We used this water for a whole year almost with a system in the house. The medical stuff, my daughter would get in the shower in the morning. We had a methane remover in the house. She would get in the shower in the morning before school started, and she'd have to get out and lay on the floor because she thought she was going to pass out from methane poisoning. She broke out with eczema on her elbows, and my son up and down his legs, and hives on the front and the back. Now we live with a water buffalo in our garage that they come and fill every day so we can have fresh water in the house.
This is us. This is our people. Okay? That's what we're talking about here. Now I want to thank these people here because they got tons of guts. They got courage. They're willing to stand up against the oil and gas industry who are loaded. They got tons of power. We saw their lobbyists there snickering at us when I went out there with Pete Seeger. They told us this bill was dead, but not for these people standing up and saying no. Yeah. After millions of dollars being poured into Albany by lobbyists to crush this bill, at the last minute, 12:30 at night, it came through. And you want to know why? Because democracy works. It works. And if you have the guts and you have the courage and you stand up for something you believe in, then these people can stand up in front of you and they can take a stand for you. It works. And if you're out there, I know you're out there, and I know you're feeling hopeless, and I know you feel like the fix is in. We look at BP and we say, how can they let this happen? And we're angry. But if you're out there and you're hopeless, then you're not doing enough. One action leads to many, 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 many more actions.
Well, I'm just having a quick little story because it's pretty hot. And her heart broke. She couldn't handle it. She got to her. She started to take this on to her. She started to take this on, and her actions got noticed by Mark Ruffalo. Reached out to Julia and said, what can I do to help you? Julia, when Mark reached out to her, she turned and said, Susan, help me. I said, ugh. She said, I have Mark Ruffalo. I said, okay.
So I want to thank these people, and I want to ask them, in the future, two things. This bill means nothing unless the DEC scraps its generic environmental statement and starts all over again. It's a meaningless bill. Someone said maybe we'll use the EPA study. That's a 2-year study. I'm going to ask these people here to write a bill to extend this moratorium another 11 months. If after 11 months we get to a point where we still don't know that this is safe for our state.
So we believe the economic development opportunities are there for us. We're looking forward to them after we assure ourselves, we assure the people of the state of New York, and especially the people of the city of New York, that it is safe, that it will not harm them, that it will be a healthy process as opposed to something another part.
Thank you.
But that's just our drinking water. Imagine further if the business will not use their water for their business for cooking or washing. It really doesn't cost the gamut. Our water, how precious it is. So we would only have to use our imagination. There are those people who are not far from us in Pennsylvania, who this is for them in reality. You don't have to use their imagination. They are the victims of hydrofracking. And before we have to see this as a reality for us, we can stop it. Fortunately, for those in Pennsylvania, they cannot.
The next day, we're talking to Senator Sampson's top staff. what can we do to help us get this bill on the table? Senator Sampson said, we want this bill on the table, we want it passed. Help us navigate this dysfunctional, fractured Albany. Help us get the vote so we can bring it forward.
We don't want to be Pennsylvania. We don't want to be Colorado. We don't want to be Texas. So before a single drill enters the ground, let's make sure we understand what the risks are. That's all that this bill does. It says, let's make sure we know what the risks are and whether we can manage them before we put our resources and our residents' health at risk. So again, deepest thanks to the Senate for this truly historic action, and now let's make it law of the state.
There seems to be a lot of upstate, downstate thing going on. You hear it a lot from politicians. They use it to keep us apart, to polarize us. Well, I'm here today to say, love thy neighbor. Okay? New York City needs upstate New York. Upstate New York needs New York City. There's no difference between us. So when these politicians come in with this load of funk, that downstate New York's trying to tell upstate New York what to do, I say screw! Okay? Sorry, I thought I was in a movie. So, love thy neighbor. Let's come together on this. The whole world's looking at us. I want to tell you, Australia just put together a gas drilling moratorium based on what we did here in New York State. That's another nation, thousands of miles away, that saw the leadership that these people showed, and they said, you know what, that makes sense. We're sick of being run over by gas and oil businesses. We're sick of being run over by industry. This is the one time that we got a chance to stand up and say no before it's too late. Thank you very much.
We appreciate to all 48 senators who cast their vote for the moratorium 49. I want to speak on behalf of my generation. Right now, as we stand here in the midst of this disaster in the Gulf, in the midst of hydrofracking, contamination, disasters, and death happening across this country, we recognize that it is time for a change. And it's a time for a change where we as everyday citizens, as in all of social movement history in this country have done before, need to stand up together and to say to the government, you work for us, you represent us, and not this industry. It was a momentous occasion that the New York State Senate stood up for the people and not on behalf of the corporate special interests that are controlling our country right now. New York has one of the most abundant water supplies in the world. 8 million people depend on the fresh water of upstate New York. If there is any entity across this state that can unite us, upstate and downstate, it is our water. Think for a moment of how long can you live? How long can your children live? How long can your families live without water? Not very long. It is one of our most basic human needs. So now in the face of an industry that says, we're coming in, we can create jobs, we can get this natural gas under the ground, and it's safe. We know it's not safe. There is no regulatory body on the federal level who is standing up to look at what's happening across this country right now and taking action. The closest thing that we have are hearings that the EPA is doing about groundwater contamination. That is not enough. We need to take a national moratorium from New York State